Hello and welcome to everyone across the nation joining today's workshop on how to register new students using CASAS e-tests online. This is Martha Perez with the CASAS Technology Support Team, and I will be presenting today's workshop. Now, this workshop focuses on adding a new student record to your online database through the testing application. A certified coordinator is responsible for having sessions available to collect and record information about new students, and a certified proctor manages sessions that involve collecting registration information. This is one of 23 complimentary CASAS Online Implementation Basics workshops. We highly recommend attending as many workshops possible to learn about best practices and ask questions to become confident in using the online system. Online help is available on our website from Training and Support, for ETS Online, and TOPS Pro Enterprise. You will want to be sure and bookmark these as your electronic go-to resources. Electronic resources are updated periodically, so going to them will help to ensure you are receiving the most current information. Information for today's workshop comes from ETS Online Help in the Online User Guide. Now, the guide has hyperlinks throughout to help you move quickly between sections. For example, from the table of contents on section 4.3, Administering Tests, includes images of data collection screens. Now, section 9, now let me go back to the table of contents. These are the data collection screens that I was talking about. Okay, now let me go back to the table of contents, and on section 9, data collection, give you an overview of data collection and samples of how that data gets reflected in federal tables and Appendix I through J. Let me go back to the table of contents and search through Appendix I through J. Okay. And let me increase this for your view ease. These appendix provide field-by-field details on the type of data collected, as you may see. Now, again, you will want to bookmark electronic resources and search keywords to pinpoint specific information when you need help. Okay. So you may also download a standalone document from ETS Online Help, and Intake Resources, Data Collection Details. Where is that data collection? Oh, right up here. And download this document. Okay. Now, before we get started, I want to be sure and point out where you will find access to CASAS e-Tests Online and TOPS Pro Enterprise Online. Now, notice the URLs I just pasted in the chat box. Now, this is the main domain name address you will use when your agency is set up with an online database. This is commonly referred to as the production server where live data is produced. Now, for today's workshop, we will be using a simulation server. This is available to anyone wanting to experiment and explore our online system without risk of compromising live data. Now, you will find information on how to access the simulation on our website. Again, from Training and Support, ET Online Help, Getting Started, and you can download the simulation server document. Okay. Now let's begin, and please feel free to ask questions along the way. All right. Now, the CASAS e-Test Online application may be used for registration to collect demographics, program information, personal and labor force status, goals, zip code, and ward, if applicable in your state. Now, we have plans to add address, phone, and email data collection screens in the near future. Now, the shared database with TOPS Pro Enterprise Online, which is a data management application for the online system, meets general requirements for all National Reporting System or NRS tables. Using CASAS tests online to register students with information required for accountability eliminates scanning in this information and manual data entry. Now, for review and to prepare for a demonstration, proctors must sign in to the management console to start sessions when preparing for testing, or in this case, registration. Now, on a proctor station, launch the web browser. In this case, we are using the Rolling Hills server, and make sure you enter the URL. Now, from the main domain web page, click Sign In. Now we're going to enter user credentials. For simulation, you can enter 4908. User must be a proctor between 1 and 50. There are 50 generic proctor accounts as well as coordinators, administrators, and teachers. But in this case, we're logging in as a proctor. And then for password, we're going to type the word proctor all lowercase. Now click Login. Oops. Sorry about that. Should be all lowercase, as I said. I believe I had my caps lock. Now, from Application Management, click Testing Sessions. The registration session will give you undivided time with students to assist them in applying their responses on data collection screens and addressing any questions. Now, proctors should have the data collection details document on hand for reference during registration or intake. If you use the registration session, data collection screens are skipped during an intake session, and students begin testing after entering an ID. So if you do not use the registration session, students will complete the registration process during an intake session before they begin testing. Now, filter testing sessions to minimize the list. For example, click on the filter, and we should search for let's search for the North Campus and search for contains registration. Now, click your refresh button, as the enter button will not do anything, and retract the filter. So now you have a minimized list that the proctor will manage while registering students. Now, to prepare for registration, click the Start to acknowledge responsibilities and duties, select supervisory hours, and then click Start. Now, the session activity window is displayed for the proctor to manage registration. Now, the registration session also gives students the opportunity to practice, and practice tests help. Now, introduce students to the user interface. The practice tests, these help to introduce students to the user interface, draw attention to the retractable toolbar and information displayed. You can also prepare students for taking a pre-test and give students experience with navigation and reviewing at the end of a test. Now, giving students the opportunity to practice prior to taking their first test using CASAS tests online is strongly recommended. Now, after the proctor signs into the management console and starts sessions, then they go about the lab to prepare computers and students' arrival. Now, at the testing station, launch the web browser, okay, and enter the URL. It's one that I'm pointing to. Now, we are using the simulation server again for demonstration purposes. And now from the main domain web page, click Administer Test. Okay. Now, connect with the online hosted server by clicking the Run, and download the test delivery system and secure browser application on the testing station. Okay, there we go. Now the testing station displays the refresh button for test security, as you may see. Now, even though the testing station is connected to the online server, a test will not be delivered until the proctor adds the station to an active session. Proctors add stations to active sessions on an ad hoc basis. Multiple sessions may run simultaneously and deliver tests according to the session description. Now, this is recommended practice for test security and flexibility with web-based testing. The proctor is now ready for registering students. Okay. Now, the previous workshop on the CASAS intake process described screening students to help determine the next appropriate step for intake. This involves an oral screening and writing sample which may be incorporated with registration. Now, both ABE and ESL intake processes are similar in that with both, you observe how well the student communicates and fills out forms or applies responses on data collection screens. You will also administer the writing screening or other writing assessment, and you can also consider other factors affecting level placement. Now, the primary difference between ABE and ESL intake is administering the oral screening to students who cannot speak English well. All right. Now let's see. The CASAS intake process is available from, let me go back to my website here, from the Training and Support, eTest Online Help, Intake Resources, and download the CASAS intake process. So these are ABE and ESL intake process, or there's also this other document, the CASAS intake process document. Now, some programs set up a kiosk in the school office or lobby to assist individuals who inquire about the school's programs with entering registration information and practicing using CASAS eTest online, and then be directed to return on a given day or time for intake. Now, to demonstrate using the registration session to add a new student or to add new student records to your online database, we need to add the station. So we're going to return back to our session activity window and click Add Stations. At the bottom left on your session activity window, we will use and select our station, Assessment Center, and click Add to the active session. Now, at the testing station, we're going to click Refresh to start the registration process. Now, assign a unique identification code for the student and either enter it or have the student enter identification. So let me enter my student identification code and then click Continue. A new student will enter a first name. Middle name is optional, however, a middle name initial is recommended, and then the last name. Okay, now let's see. All right, now click the forward arrow at your bottom left to proceed. Now the next screen prompts the student to enter a zip code for a current place of residence, and then click the forward arrow. Check female, male or female on the next screen, and then click the forward arrow. Now enter the date of birth. Let's just select a random date here. Okay. And then you can direct the students to mark a leading 0 for days less than 10. In this case, I'm selecting 22, but let's just say she's from the 1st, April 1st. So let's just say direct them to enter a leading 0 and mark 19 or 20 for birth years during the 1900s or 2000s. Okay. So it can't just say April April 111 or April 178 or something. So it has to mark 19 or 20 and the preceding 0. Now this, I'm going to click forward for the next one. Now this screen prompts the student to check the number of years of formal schooling completed. Let's just say this person went through the 12th, and this may include schooling in the United States or abroad. So the student should also check the box if formal schooling was completed outside of the United States, as you can see with this box. Okay, for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to check it. Okay, now let's move forward. The screen prompts the student to check the highest credential or degree achieved, and then check when schooling in the United States or abroad is included. So in this case, I'm just going to say none. And if you, on the previous screen, had checked the schooling outside of the U.S., it doesn't matter. This highest diploma or degree can be earned on abroad as if you were receiving your education in the US, but if you still earn your college or certificate abroad, you can check this box and then click the forward arrow. Now the student is prompted to identify a native language. This should be the prevalent language spoken in the home as a child. Now click the forward arrow. Now for ethnicity, the student should mark 1 to indicate the group with which they primarily identify. Okay. And for race, mark 1 or more according to the origins. You can say white. Okay. Then click the forward arrow. Now the online system tracks students and outcomes for several types of programs. Now the student should be directed to mark 1 instructional program of current or anticipated enrollment. Now this can be changed after determining appropriate placement after intake. Okay. Now personal status is an optional screen. Now the student may mark all that apply or leave blank and continue. Okay. Now for labor force status is required and often tied to goals which are on the last screen. Now the student marks 1 for current status in the labor force. Okay. Now this may change during enrollment in a program, at which time a student may update at time for post-testing, or updated information may be added to the student record in TOPS Pro Enterprise. And then click the forward arrow. Now, primary and secondary goals should be selected for attainable goals within the current program year. Now, we should mark 1, the primary goal, which generally again aligns with the instructional program, and mark 1 secondary goal, which generally aligns with the student's current labor force status. Let's just say improve my English skills. Okay. And click the forward arrow. Now the review page displays after students complete data collection screens. Now to edit any information before saving, they may click on change. So let's just say we want to change the date of birth. Put it back to the original way, and let's say I'm from 78. After changing information, students may navigate back by using the left arrow, or you can go forward by using the forward arrow, or you can just click the review and return to the last screen and then click save to finish. Now, saved information may also be updated by the student when post-testing. Now, at top right of the testing screen, click the Update Student Info link to review. Now, the review page displays, and the students may click Change to edit saved information. All right, we're going to click Cancel here. Yes. Now, the test menu now displays, giving the student an opportunity to practice with reading, math, and listening practices. Practice tests may be repeated multiple times in the same seating. Now, responses are not scored or stored in the online database or system. Now, the student should be directed to click Log Out at the top right when finished with registration and practice. Okay. Now, the station is now ready for the next student. When registration is finished for the session, proctors should click the exit link at the top right of each testing station to close the testing application. Remember to also return to the management console and stop your session. Okay, now we're going to go back to the session activity window, and from here we will click on the Manage button and stop our session. Since we are finished working in the eTest Management Console, click the back link at the top right of the Management Console screen and return to the main menu. Now we're going to also click Log Out link at the upper right corner of the screen, and now this returns you to the login screen. However, you are not completely disconnected from the server. Now, for security, exit the application at the top left, click the web browser back arrow. Now you are completely disconnected from the server and return to the main domain web page where you started. Okay. Are there any questions about how to register new students using CASAS eTests online before we wrap it up? Okay. No questions? All right. Well, I will take that as a no. Now, each workshop in a set of CASAS Online implementation basics builds on the last in a logical progression for helping you to get up and running with the online system. Now, if you missed or skipped a workshop, okay, we posted a playlist from past recordings so that you may review a previously attended workshop or preview upcoming workshops. Now, you may access them from Training and Support, eTest Online Help, CASAS Online Implementation Basics, the workshop recordings, and you may also go and access them from our social media newsroom and our YouTube channel. Okay. Now, please note this information that I just pasted on our chat box is about our technology support team. Now, the support team is available to provide any technical assistance you may need to ensure successful implementation. Now, this email alerts a support team that includes several members. Now, communicating to the larger group will help us to ensure you receive a timely response. Now, team members are available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday. We look forward to you joining us for the next workshop on how to retrieve test results. Okay. This will be held tomorrow at 11 Pacific Time. Now, thank you for your time, and this concludes the workshop on how to register new students. Thank you.